covering the community, events, and people of Georgia, Carolina. This is the Means Report. Here is Brad Means.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Means Report. Happy Sunday to you. We appreciate, as always, you spending part of it with us, especially, I know, as your Sundays get busier and busier. Christmas is getting ever closer, and I know that your time is precious. So again, thanks for the half hour. We promise to make it chock full of information. We have our periodic financial advice from Jeff Fairman. He's going to be here a little bit later to break down what you need to know as you plan your end of the year and first of the year financial situation. Also, we have a representative of Doctors Hospital here to talk about music therapy and how powerful that can be. You know, they call it the universal language. Well, it's not just for speaking or for singing. It can also be for healing. We're going to find out what a strong role music can play in helping people restore perhaps physical function that they've lost. Also a very busy time both this year and coming up in 2012 for the Family Y. Everything from a program that teaches thousands of children how to swim to a very special grand opening coming up here in the next few weeks. We're going to cover that as we have a representative of the Family Y right here on the set of the Means Report. First though, back to that music therapy and back to how important it is and how it is becoming more and more widely accepted by doctors as a means of helping people restore function and be able to move about, regain that mobility, and through that regain their lives. Here's Christy Myers.
I knew that I would not. I feel good.
Morris Stanley can sing words that he can't speak. The multiple sclerosis that also limits his movement is vulnerable to the beat of a guitar.
Step and step.
He's doing neurologic music therapy, which is thought to create new connections in the brain and helps compensate for brain injury.
They can retrieve those words through lyrics on the other side of the brain.
Megan Morrow has used it to help children with disabilities.
Mental retardation, cerebral palsy, and doing a lot of similar type techniques, but working on different goal areas. Especially with autism, you can get their attention much faster through singing.
There are more than 24 techniques that can help people remember when they couldn't recall things. They can help them reach out and use their arms.
Here we go. Once, really light.
Some of the techniques you can do at home. For memory, try humming a song.
Be
happy.
Drumming helps Morris control his hands.
Son of a gun, we'll have you fun. There you go.
I never used to be able to pick up a fork and go to town and feed myself. I've worked so hard to feed myself. I can do it nowadays.
Music helps him stand and balance. He even danced with his physical therapist.
You got it, man.
He had no balance. He could not sit in a chair. He had no trunk control.
Donna, his wife of 23 years, says Morris has come a long way, and much of it to the beat of a song.
Singing, we will rock you.
Christy Myers, 13 Health Check.
It is powerful therapy indeed. We want to talk a little bit more about that today, and that's why we've asked Dr. Bob Harmon from Doctors Hospital to join us. He specializes in helping people regain that mobility and regain those physical attributes they once had, as you saw there in that story. Dr. Harmon, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
My pleasure.
I want to let the people know that we don't have music therapy at Doctors yet, but we do have a vast knowledge of music therapy through you, because you've seen what it can do just through your role as the member of a rock band, really playing up on stage and being involved in music. Just what have you seen, first of all, as far as music's impact on people, mind, body, and soul?
Well, as you know, music has been around since it seems time began, and it really is, as you say, the universal language. People get a lot of emotional benefit from music. It's a way of communicating things that sometimes words don't quite do, and with music, as folks saw, people can be inspired to try to do more physically and to challenge themselves. Again, as you said, in playing music for entertainment in our culture right now, there is something that people get out of music that really inspires them. I know as a teenager, listening to rock and roll really challenged me to take up electric bass and then guitar and then other instruments for my own enjoyment. and I find that there's fulfillment in having other people enjoy the music too. And I think having that in a therapeutic environment will help challenge people when they're bored with the standard routine exercises, the repetition of the things that they're doing from a rehabilitation perspective. This will give them something different to do, something which they might be able to relate to better, because indeed, if they are working with keeping the rhythm for a song that they enjoy,
right,
they have the enjoyment of the music, plus they're working on the time-keeping skill, they're working maybe on the physical strength to shake a shaker or beat on a drum to keep the time. So it carries over what skills they're working on in therapies and will make them want to continue doing that.
So at its very base, are we talking about a type of therapy that appeals to someone's instinct, if you will, to get up and move? Is that how this all starts?
And it really does. And indeed, there are some therapies, and research has suggested it can be helpful in walking to the time of the music and getting a better cadence of gait or better efficiency of walking.
Now, in that story we heard mention of the therapy being used to help spark memory and to help people perhaps restore part of their cognitive function. Do you see that, or do you believe that that's possible through music? Not just getting up and moving to the beat, but also unlocking memories and unlocking brain function.
And I would say yes, in that when we talk about communicating, language for the vast majority of us tends to be on our dominant hemisphere side and crossing over. So for most of us, it's going to be on the left side of the brain. Music, people thought, was mainly processed on the non-dominant hemisphere side, the right side, but they found that with music training, the brain will become more active actually on both sides when listening to music, and there is more of an integrative function that the brain has when listening to music as compared to just spoken language. And when people talk about trying to retrieve words, retrieve the ability to communicate, there are what are called overlearned words, and some songs tend to fall into that category, which are actually stored both sides of the brain. And so if there has been damage to the primary speech center, one can sometimes see retrieval of these words in putting things to music. For example, singing the ABC song, or around this time of year, jingle bells jingle, and somebody would maybe complete that phrase, bells, because that is a song that many of us have heard since childhood, and it's ingrained in us.
We saw that with the Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, music therapy helping her regain some of her brain function lost in that shooting. How about the publicity that something like that provides? Is it sort of a silver lining in your field by perhaps showing the rest of the world that this type of therapy is beneficial?
It does actually bring a lot of recognition to something that most people would not be aware of, yes.
Is there an age group for which music therapy works best, or are we talking about infancy to old age?
And really, you're right, it's infancy to old age. The research has studied its effects in children, in adults, in the elderly, as well as different groups of patients, folk who have heart problems, who need to work on controlling blood pressure and to increase their relaxation, folk who have dementia, who are trying to maintain their memory skills and their cognitive skills as long as possible.
Let's talk about, let me ask you quickly then, to piggyback on that answer about people who are trying to keep themselves sharp. Is singing or memorizing lyrics or reciting all of the above a way to keep your brain sharp as you head into your golden years?
And some people would say yes. However, to be truthful, the research is very limited in that, and a lot more work would need to be done to really conclusively show how effective it is. I would say, though, that most folk who sing enjoy singing, they want to continue it, and it's very appropriate to do so as part of this skill set, if you will, to maintain as we get older and to try to keep our cognitive skills fresh.
Is there a type of music that you like to see used in therapy, or would you say all types are probably helpful?
And I would say truly all types. I would advocate for rock and roll myself, but...
So you're classic rock, that's your band.
Classic rock.
Do you have any gigs upcoming?
We've actually been playing First Fridays at Oddfellows Gallery downtown.
Oddfellows Gallery, and what's the name of your band?
Name of the band is the Smokin' Guns, named after a Robert Cray blues song.
The Smokin' Guns.
The Smokin' Guns.
And are you still on bass?
Actually, no, I'm on guitar.
Your lead guitar?
Lead guitar.
And you can absolutely work that axe, can you not?
I like to think so.
I bet you can. I bet you can. Listen, I hope that this therapy gains more and more widespread acceptance. I do think you're right. I do think the more publicity, the better. And I like the advice that you give people to just kind of keep those songs playing in their head and keep music at the forefront. We appreciate it. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Anytime. You're welcome here anytime. Dr. Bob Harmon, Doctors Hospital. We appreciate his help and all the fine folks at Doctors for always sending experts here to the set of the Means Report. Speaking of experts, Millie Schumacher knows every single thing there is to know about the Family Why, and she's going to break down some exciting happenings that are upcoming for that wonderful organization as the Means Report continues.